We're in the middle of the biggest economic crisis since the Great Depression. 1.8 million Canadians are without a job. Small businesses have had their life savings wiped out, their local enterprises lacerated by shutdown rules and overeager bureaucrats seeking to hand out fines. People's lives have been turned upside down, and folks with vulnerabilities have become sick with this new virus. Others are suffering because of the secondary health effects of a lockdown. You would think that the parliamentary committee responsible for finance would be talking about this crisis, but we're not. Instead, Liberals have us talking about this. These are the covered up WE scandal documents that parliamentarians asked for on July the 7th. I put forward a motion to unseal all this blacking and reveal the information publicly. A motion that could have been passed in just a few minutes so Finance Committee could get back to its vital work of rescuing Canadians' lives and livelihoods during the pandemic. But instead of letting us vote on that motion and get back to work, Liberals on the committee have spent 25 hours over 4 weeks of debate, speaking 171,000 words into the record to run the clock. They've spoken about such different things as unrelated to the crisis as cartoon characters, Greek philosophers. They have expounded on their personal views about the Jewish Torah, the Islamic Quran, the Christian Bible, any number of subjects, whatever it takes to run the clock and cover up the debate, to prevent a vote so the truth doesn't come out. The secrets contained in this document must be terrifying for Justin Trudeau. You can only imagine him waking up in the middle of the night to a cold sweat, thinking about what will happen to his reputation and his government if the truth comes out. Maybe there'll even be criminal charges if the police are able to find out what's in these documents. That's why Conservatives continue to push for the truth to come out. Let's get this solved so that Canadians can know what's going on and our leaders can focus on protecting people during the pandemic. Right now, our deficit is bigger than it has ever been. It could be almost $500 billion in combined new debt. Almost 2 million people desperately looking for work. Our small businesses fighting for their lives. We should be on their side, fighting for their livelihoods rather than fighting for the political life of one prime minister. Spread this message now so that every Canadian knows what their prime minister is doing. A man who shut down Parliament, who's sent out his MPs to filibuster 3 different parliamentary committees, who has blacked out over 1,000 WE scandal documents, and even threatened an election in order to prevent an investigation into his work. The only ones who can stop Justin Trudeau are the Canadian people. And that's why I encourage you to spread this message far and wide so that everybody in Canada knows what he is doing to the truth when he should be focused on the livelihoods of the people. But have hope. We have a strong leader in Aaron O'Toole, the son of a working class family who is fighting for Canadians here on Parliament Hill, leading the charge against this corruption and secrecy and in favor of the hardworking people who will bring our economy and our country roaring back to life. So don't give up hope. Don't give up the fight. I know I won't.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Crusty Canuck live stream. Sorry, I had to put a little tidbit there for Mr. Polyev. That was from his personal page there on YouTube. He just put up about an hour ago. So you can honestly see that there are politicians fighting for our behalf. However, they're still yet to be seen. How's everyone doing? Good to see some familiar faces. Mr. Drost, how are you, Phil? Yes, there's no blue or black screen. It's just me, my ugly mug. How's it going? Interesting today. Well, interesting day and interesting week in Canadian politics yet again. All right, so I'm just going to close this page here. All these little pings and reminders driving me nuts. There we go. So everyone can hear me okay? Outstanding. All right, so how's everyone doing? A couple of people are saying they're cool. Great. See more people sign on. Yes. Like I say, every 2 weeks I try to do a live stream. So if you want to come out and say hi, ask a question, get a conversation going, we can do that. Try to be an open book. I had some interesting debates this week with some NDPers and some diehard liberals alike. It was quite interesting. Yes, I didn't copy and paste the conversations. It just got to the point where I'm getting sick and tired of talking to a wall, right? Because I try to remind some of these liberals that they're not promoting the actual liberal brand. They're promoting a so-called utopic idea, just like the NDP is too, you know. Good to see you, Max. Thanks for coming out. Well, Mr. O'Neill, it was not as hard. I'm just looking at this individual, and I actually looked up at her profile, and basically some of the propaganda she put in her profile, you know, was clean, green, all this good stuff. And hey, don't get me wrong, I am all for the environment. I am all for clean things, water, fuel, and solutions, viable solutions to get things done. And yet every time I've engaged one of these individuals, they have never come up with any kind of concrete plan that's going to prove worthy to the Canadian consumer, i.e. the blue-collar persons of this country. So yes, a city can do that if they decide to, as far as I know, Colin. It's kind of scary, but then again, you look at certain cities that have adequate safety measures and adequate safety features when it comes to indoor ranges and what have you. Right? All the more reasons for people in said city to say, sayonara, you know. What's that, Max, the educated guesser? In regards to my green solutions, like I've said before here in the live streams and on other episodes, geothermics is a good way of looking into things. There's options with biodiesel. There's options with hydrogen technology. There's tons of options. Even with fossil fuels, we can find a way to burn it cleaner or refine it cleaner. However, But people are quite determined. Oh, we have to ban coal and ban this and ban. And yet when you banned liquor in the 20s, what had happened? What happened when they banned liquor in the 1920s? Well, I agree, Colin. It should be a right, not a privilege in this country. It should be a right. It should be a right. It should be right to do what the hell you want to do without government interference. Provided you're not hitting people, taking their stuff. Hey, all the more power to you. Neither was I, Don, but they banned alcohol, right? They had the prohibition, and that's where you get, that's where you get the Al Capones and the Kennedys, and all the big criminal gun lords who ran liquor and ran guns all over greater parts of North America, right? When you ban something, it just promotes a black market. That's all. The government. Yeah, black market smokes. That'll probably be the next on the list, right? No more plastic forks or spoons and no more tobacco, right? Who knows what else they're going to ban? Oh, we know the justice system is flawed, Max. We know it is, right? Hence the term C-71 and C-75. How many people were released from maximum security facilities and given opportunities in sweat lodges? Or healing lodges, for that matter. Ban wrong think. What exactly do you mean by that, Ratsons? Wrong think. No, that's the thing, Colin. He does not know gun laws. And surprisingly enough, he was part of a crack team in 2013 that took down a lot of gang situations, which was quite the victory for the Toronto Police Service. However, prior to the Nova Scotia shooting, he had no idea when it came to regulating gun laws. And yet he was the chief of police. Yeah, tune into the CCFR channel too. You'll find a lot of interesting conversations they have there. Oh, Ratsons, yeah, I know what you're doing. I was just actually watching that on Liberty Talks there with Odessa, and she had Dan Dix on from Press for Truth. Yeah, talking about banning speeches and stuff like that. Even the Foreign Affairs Minister was talking in Parliament today. We should respect all free speech as long as it's respectful. It's like, what? You want to ban free speech if it's not respectful? What is that? Like, I just, ugh. Yeah, we could do that too. Yes, I agree with that. I said one of my episodes too, if they're going to test a new vaccine, if it's on the market, then I want to see every so-called leader take a shot. And I'm not just saying the notional, little needle to the arm like you've seen some news producers do. I'd actually want someone to sit there, film them, have a needle penetrate their skin, and show us. And then let's wait 3 or 4 days to see what happens. No, John, sorry. I haven't followed any Ontario bills of 218. Sorry about that. Can you enlighten me, please? Oh, that's the thing, John. Yeah, you can't regulate speech. You can't regulate what people say or what they're going to say. It's obvious. The common man and woman can differentiate from what's really hateful to what's insightful, right? And as much as I disagree, and you're hearing it from me, as much as I disagree, yeah, let some bigots speak their minds too. Free speech, is it not? Right? We hear commies spew their guts all the time. Right? As much as I want to throw eggs at some of them. Oh, not a problem, Max. Whatever. I'm just glad you tuned in. Thank you for tuning in, too. So it's good to see everybody. I'm seeing more people come out. Don't be shy. Say hello. Ask me anything you want to. You know, this is an open forum. I hate to say it, Colin, but there's a lot of sympathy towards the Chinese Communist Manifesto. I don't hate the Chinese people. I just hate the Communist Party. Well, that varies with some bigots too, and let them hang themselves. I never stood up for bigotry. I don't tolerate it. When I hear it, I just either walk away from it or I challenge it. That's the idea too. You're allowed to challenge ideas. You're allowed to talk about ideas. The basic principles of freedom of speech is constantly being tossed at the window, right? Oh, I see. Okay. So it's basically the whole do as I say, not as I do. And if I'm doing something in the interest of a beer bug, then I'm not going to be persecuted. That's shady. Hmm. Hmm. I don't know. It's hard to trust a lot of these provincial governments now too, with this whole pandemic. Because we all remember back in March and April, all the health officials sitting there saying, "Oh, we can't do this. So you don't need this. You don't need that." We've all heard it. We've all had Dr. Tam and Patty Haydu talk all these wonderful things in regards to what we can do for our personal safety. And yet they gallivant around all the country. They've hopped in jets, they've hopped in buses, dictated this, dictated that, and what have they stood on? Case-demic, yeah. Or panic-demic. Panic, panic, panic. Anyway, folks, we'll have everyone's attention. If you do feel like joining the page, by all means, just go right to the Crusty Canuck page, click on join, and there are 4 options to choose from. You got the 1 leaf, got the 2 leaf, got the hat trick, and we got the Canada Cup. The 1 leaf will guarantee you for $1.99 a month a shout out on every time I do a live stream and a proper applause, meaning hypothetically, Mr. Bloggins was going to say, "Hey, Crusty, how are you? I just joined your page." I would say, "Yay, Mr. Bloggins, thanks for joining the page." Does that not beat a stale cup of coffee and a shitty newspaper? That's what you get for $1.99. Right? So, yes, yeah, of course, Miss Haydu went home for Easter as she flew in style, no doubt. Right? Yes, yes, of course. So everybody don't believe anything they got to say because Mr. well, who knows, Mr. or Mrs. Tam or Ms. Tam was encouraging people wear masks during sex and promoting the use of glory holes. Wasn't that usually an inside joke in some old comedy movies, a glory hole? And yet they want to encourage that? Oh, yes. Okay. Just, stick your thing in a random hole and win a prize. You don't know what you're going to get, right? Well, whether she works for China or has ties to China, who knows? She's not working for the Canadian people. I really don't think anybody in the Liberal cabinet is really thinking about the Canadian people right now. Oh, I know, Max. I know. I got let go from a job because of my freedom of speech, because someone was offended, yet that individual did not have the guts to confront me on said offense. That individual took it upon herself to tattle on me, right? Instead of confronting me about something or talking to me like adults should, right? So. Yes, it's turning into a real poop show. Real poop show. Yeah, hurt feeling report or whatever. And what gets me is that about a week after the fact, I remember the look in her face when I saw her in the grocery store. Oh, hi, how you doing? Really? Hmm? Hmm? Yeah. But I won't hold that against her. She was under 30 as well. So of course, hurt feelings parade. Yes. Don't hurt my feelings. Oh. Yeah. It reminds me too that I remember as a kid, getting picked on. And I remember seeing other kids get picked on, and you learn to fight back. You learn to stand your ground. It doesn't matter if you get a punch in the face. You usually end up getting up and you start swinging back, right? And then the vice principal grabs you by the collar, hauls you to the office, and then you get punished, right? Yeah. John O'Neill, Bobbitt. You mean Lorena Bobbitt? Well, I played dumb a couple of times too, and trust me, that never paid off for me. I had to say something. It's one of those SMH moments, right? Shake your head and you're like, you know. Well, that's the thing, Colin, too. I'm the bad person because I had an opinion. I basically said leave kids alone when it comes to sexuality. Let them discover it themselves. Right? I never said anything derogatory or mean or heartless or insensitive to anybody who is homosexual or bisexual. I don't really care what you do in your bedroom. Knock yourself out. But I don't believe teaching 5-year-old kids that is acceptable. Any sexuality, I don't care. Let them grow into it on their own. And if little Billy is 13 or 14 years old and says, well, he's got a crush on his best friend, well, okay, there's little Billy for you. Same thing with little Beth or whatever. Let them grow into it and make sure there's resources there to help kids along the way, just like for straight kids. That's all. I worked for a couple individuals that actually confided in me about their sexuality, and that never bothered me. Right? That never bothered me. I don't really care. It's not like my life is going to be ruined or destroyed because I know my coworker is homosexual. I don't care. Right? Doesn't bother me. What bothers me is when you try to indoctrinate kids. Let kids just grow up and discover it for themselves like the rest of us. Okay? Because there's rules and laws up there that are going to protect them if they're gay or if they're bi or if they're straight, you would think. Right? ISB party, that works. Yeah. They tried that in the 70s. It was called the Rhinoceros Party. But that could work. Get a nice logo going, get some stickers going, some buttons. Yeah. That works. I like that. Yeah. Any more questions, folks? Please don't be shy. I try to be an open book. If I don't have an answer for you, I will try to get the answer for you sometime in the future, by all means. I think Trudy was just catering for the sake of the opposition. Now, it's funny. I wonder whoever is old enough here can remember the dynamic from 30 years ago, right? When you had liberals 30 years ago, they're actually talking about liberal things. and you had conservatives, whether it be Canada or the United States, to my American viewers, our conservative party used to be similar to what the Republicans were or are, whatever dynamic. Anyway, make a long story short, there was somewhere a twist in it, because you're finding more conservative people, liberty-minded people, people that want their individuality, love their country, don't mind paying a few taxes, but love their freedom too. And you're seeing more of the shift on the left when it comes to thinking a certain way, walking a certain way, talking a certain way. You agree with abortion or else. You agree with polyamorous relationships or else. You know, you agree with this or else, or not, you're going to be fired, right? It's basically a communist thing, a socialist thing. It's the best way I can assess it. Don't be wrong, socialized medicine is okay because every Canadian taxpayer pays a chunk into it, provincial and federal alike. So, but like every other system, it's flawed too, because there are a lot of wait times for essential services, i.e. getting rid of a tumor, or getting work on an organ, or getting a transplant of any sort, right? And contrary to the myth, all the hospitals are not full of people. They're not. So, Chrétien, yeah, there's another clown. Yeah. 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 His party, to me, is no different than what it is now, with the exception of a few more spending habits, right? Well, that's the thing, Colin. There's not too many people that actually have a backbone anymore and show some basic effing resilience, right? Especially when it comes to understanding your neighbors or understanding simple things, right? You know, I hate the term progressive, because when you're progressing, that means you're changing and you're doing something for a good, not the greater good. It could be your own personal good. It could be the good for your family, the good for you're progressing, as in you're getting a bit smarter. You're handling mathematics better. You're handling English literature better. You're handling something better. Okay. This idea of progressivism is, to me, is just stagnation. That's all it is. You know, when I talk about diversity, it's like, okay, well, diversity of thought or diversity of how things look. Just because the grass is supposed to be greener on the other side, does that necessarily mean it's going to be, the grass is going to maintain its longevity? Does that mean it's always going to be greener? No, we have to maintain said grass to keep it alive, which means you have a diverse ideas, right? Without diverse ideas, what have you got? Sweet FA, right? Well, I agree, Max. I agree. Yes, a lot of people don't look into that. And even when you see the banter of the opposition back and forth, now I'm happy that I'm seeing a lot of conservatives stand up and say BS, or calling these people into question. But even when you look at the rhetoric back and forth, like every time Miss Freeland speaks, I want to puke, really. The way she tilts her head and, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker. It's like, oh, Jesus, get to the point, you know? And I have never seen any other unqualified person to call any shots in the history of this country. Like, wow. Yes, Kipriath, I have followed Hillier a bit. I've been trying to get in touch with him because I want to bring him on my show for sure. So, yeah. TS, former OPP officer, is open to critically important. Ooh, really? Can you elaborate that for me, TS, please? Ratsons, I like Bernier's stance when it comes to the economy. But I'm still kind of up in the air with the PPC. As much as I admire their integrity and their platform, I don't know. It's tough to say. I can't honestly give you an answer about Bernier's stance. I think he should have had a better chance when he was running for the Conservatives. I think he should have beat Andrew Scheer. I think there might have been a little more, how do you say, spending breaks if Bernie was in charge of Conservatives, because I know he would have done a hell of a lot more. But I don't blame him for starting the PPC. But in the same sense, I'm still out on the PPC. I was actually considering joining them at one time, but I joined the VCP instead. All right, so. Okay, TS, just I'll put my email up here. You can send it to me there, TS, okay? If anybody has any questions or requests or whatever you do, please send me an email here. I'll post up in the conversation category. So yes, by all means. Well, when I look at Andrew Scheer, I know he was honest to a degree, but yeah, he's guilty of spending party money. Every party is guilty of spending their coin. NDP, for example, right? They don't have a pot to piss in, so that's probably why we couldn't have an election. And based on the so-called Nanos polls or Gallup polls or whatever polls they go out and decide with, you know, I don't find them to be concrete and as evident as they should be. I don't. No. What are you referring to, Max? You watched where they... Well, that's the thing, Kipriev. All these committees. Every time we turn around, we're hearing this committee or that committee. It's like, why don't we have a conglomerate of Canadian academics, professionals alike, that can sit in a committee that will judge, that can look at ethics violations, that can look at spending violations, that can look at every political pundit's mistakes, rather than always having to appoint individuals, right? Have a standing committee on basically everything and have them not paid the same as MPs, or have them, you know, and have them changed out, let's say, every 5 years, right? Well, yeah, nonpartisan, exactly. You can have, let's say, if we have a committee of 15 people, 5 Lib, 5 Conservative, 5 NDP, right? Or 3 Conserv, 3 Lib, 3 NDP, 3 Green, and 3 whatever. You know, that's, I mean, or people that are independent, one or the other, having a proper mix and not worrying about who's white or who's black or who stands to pee or who sits to pee or who picks the nose in the wind or who doesn't. You know what I mean? Like, the thing. Oh, okay. I see what you're talking about. Yeah, when you go to a, is this in provincial parliament, Max, or is this in the federal parliament? Because I remember doing that when I was a young lad in Ontario. And I remember the security guard, he's like, now, kids, make sure when the politician stands up, you don't start, you know, just be very, very quiet because the adults got to talk, right? It was like a Second City skit. It was like, here I am, like 10 years old, going, what's this? Like, but we didn't speak. We didn't talk. Well, God, that was many moons ago. That's when Toronto was fun to visit. Like I say, folks, don't be shy. Go onto my Crusty Canuck page there on YouTube. Click on the join, right? There are lots of perks and benefits that help all the members. If I could get, you know, half of my subscribers to the One Leaf subscription, I would be on my way to some financial endeavors where I could create this podcast and this show to be even bigger and better. So keep that in mind, folks. Not only will you be helping me, but you'll help me create some better stuff too. So. Yeah, if you can, someone send me some information on Bill 218 too. That seems kind of interesting. Yeah. Well, that's the thing with federal law. Trump's provincial. But then if you get some people in the province with cojones to say, you'd be surprised what could be done. Oh, yeah. I read what you said there, John. I would just like to get the whole format, right? So. Provincial, I call it kindergarten and remedial adult school. Well, based on what's going on in the provincial parliament right now in Ontario, I would probably compare it to that too. You know. Appreciate that, Kip. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Like I say, folks, don't be shy. If you want to join, please join. There are perks and everything too. Like I'm saying, I'm still working on the hockey jersey. The person I actually asked to design it for me, he's out of country right now, right? But needless to say, do what you can. Please contribute, you know. Or if you don't want to use the links on YouTube, please feel free to check my description columns in any of my videos, and you can subscribe to me through Subscribestar, PayPal, and through Patreon on my Podbean page. So. Don't worry, John. I'll look into it and I might add it to my next episode. And for my viewers there, I will be putting another episode up tomorrow afternoon, roughly 3 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, 5 o'clock Eastern. So keep your radars up for that one too. I'm going to be dissecting Dr. Tam's issues and Christopher Freeland's wisdom. Yeah, so. But yeah, send me more information if you can there, Mr. O'Neill. We'll get that sorted out. So. And please, too, ladies and gentlemen, for the next couple of days, you can get 20% off of my merchandise at Customized Girl. Links are on the community page, and they're also in my descriptions and all my videos, too, between now and Halloween, right? So tonight and tomorrow, get your orders in. Don't forget to use the code capital CNMDE. I'll give you 20% off any piece of my merchandise, Customized Girl. So check it out. Okay, well, I'll look into that too there, Kip, a bit later for sure. But right now I'm with my audience, you wonderful people. And I want to say thank you, though, to everybody. Since my last live stream, I've had about 300 plus subscribers come on. So 300 people have subscribed to my channel. So thank you to everyone out there who has been sharing and commenting and talking nonchalantly about my work. Well done. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. All right. So, yes, I want to thank all my subscribers out there. You guys are awesome. That's the thing, though. A lot of people are concerned with liberties, and we can see our liberties being compromised, right? If you want to wear a mask, fine. If you don't want to wear a mask, as far as I'm concerned, that's fine too. I keep one with me when I go out, because I really don't want to start any bullshit over something stupid. Okay, and really, it is stupid. You know, whatever side of science you believe, or whatever side of science you don't believe, fine. Common sense is king. Okay, so. Oh, thank you, Kip. We appreciate you too. Thanks, bud. Max, want to start your own channel? Yes, by all means, start your own channel. Get out there. You know, the more the merrier. More people get involved, speaking their minds, the more, you know, people are going to start listening, right? You know, I can understand wearing a mask when you're in a hospital if someone is sick. Yes, you know, I've been in hospitals before where other things were going on, others besides this beer bug, and I've had to wear a mask. Understandable. right? But it's just getting ridiculous. Now the WHO is saying, oh, well, lockdowns are wrong. Well, okay, good. Exactly, And when you keep borrowing money, you're still charging up interest rates that you and I and other taxpayers have to pay, right? Government credit card is not a credit card. It's a Canadian taxpayer. And I thought we learned that the last recession, but I guess not. So, yeah, I know, like Kip too. Like even people with irritable bowel syndrome, IBS. It's like, okay, wear a mask. Now it's like everywhere. You can't go to a mom and pop shop for this. You can't go to this shop for that. But you can go to Walmart, but you got to walk this way and talk this way and douse your hands. It's common sense. I've washed my hands every time I've had a meal, every time I use the bathroom. How else do I say it? Yes, I know, folks. I smoke too much. I'm working on it. I still got my vices. Right? Well, I'm seeing more and more people come out and say hi, folks. Don't be shy. Well, yeah. Well, where does Trudy get the money, though? It's not from his trust fund. Like it's what kind of when he said that, I'm like, really? You're taking on the debt so we don't have to? Oh, so where's this money coming from? Fairy farts, pixie dust, the magical shitting hole. Yeah, okay. Where's Paul Lynn when you need him? You know what I mean? Well, that's the thing, Kip. I try to eat right too. I eat lots of veggies, leaner cuts of meat, drink lots of water. My biggest vices right now are coffee and cigarettes. But I'm ex-infantry. That's just a given, right? So, I could just see Paul Lynn criticizing this. Oh, Trudeau. You're much like your old man. Irresponsible. Oh, see more people come out and say hi, folks. Don't be shy. It's hair budget. Oh yeah, Prime Minister Pert Plus needs that shampoo. Yeah, of course the sock budget as well. Now that's always a good thing. I was on Cousin L's show there a couple of weeks back, and she made a point of saying, when he first said in 2015 the budget would balance itself. Now, if that was not a dead giveaway on the politics that were going to lie ahead, I have no idea what was. Really. How does a budget balance itself? Does every man and woman out there that pull out their wallet and give it a kiss, hold it in the wind, and say, balance? No. No, of course not. You have to balance the budget. You've got to wipe your own ass. You've got to wipe your own nose. You've got to balance your own damn budgets. Yeah. Spitting image. Well, I've been watching a lot of Paul Lynn on YouTube lately, some of his old work, and the guy was hilarious. Regardless of the guy was funny as hell. He was. And I don't give a fuck what comedian or actor out there was what or who. When they catch your attention and they crack a joke or they do something that makes you laugh, you remember that, right? Hell, even Scott Thompson from Kids in the Hall. And I'm sure a lot of you guys remember Kids in the Hall. Right? The first time he did Buddy Cole, wow. Build Back Better. What is that exactly? Build Back Better. Sounds like something you get from a sandwich, Okay, Max, I'll be here. Yeah, UN bullshit, right? And what does the UN have to do with my life and your life, right? You have to restart everything, step backwards again. That's not very progressive now, is it? Right? And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, take advantage of my super stickers here too. Like, I'm being monetized as well. So just click on the dollar icon there and give what you can. Right? Well, true. You know, I remember when the UN actually did, past tense, actually did stand up for something good. You know, after World War II, United Nations get together. So therefore, we're not going to deal with another fucking Hitler again, or another Mussolini, or a possible, stalwart to Stalin's little outreaching. But now I don't find it to be a legitimate force for good. I don't find it to be that great of a force anymore. One thing when it comes to disasters, sure, they might have some organizations that can help out, but based on everything that's been going on the past 10 years, no, not a chance. Not a chance. You talk to anybody that served in a peacekeeping operation, right, in the 1990s, and they'll give you some good insight on how the UN used to operate, right? So they're like politicians. So we have to cut costs. Let's do things on a shoestring budget, right? So don't be shy, folks. Click on the dollar icon, send me a super chat or super sticker, whatever you like. Any donation is accepted. I don't mind at all. If you can, great. If you can't, that's great too. I enjoy doing what I do here. I'm not expecting oodles of cash, but every donation does help, ladies and gentlemen. Just like I say, with half my subscribers would give to the one leaf commitment, I would be well on my way to getting things out there for you all. So, like I've said before, I'm going to work on some comedy probably after Christmas. So keep an eye out for a second channel. I'm affectionately going to call it the Crusty Canuck. So I've created some characters. I've written some stuff down in skits, stories, all that good stuff. So by all means, come and say hi, enjoy some comedy. Because we can't be political all the time. We drive ourselves crazy. Can't take ourselves seriously. So why don't we have some humor to back it up at times too? So keep that in mind, Crusty Canuckers out there. So like I said, I'm still working on the hockey jersey as well. So that should be up and running hopefully in a week. I'll leave some designs up and I'll put a poll up to see what you guys like. And then I'll go from the most popular design. And then I'll put that for sale in my store or on the page here. So and my comedy will not be politically correct. Now, it won't be racist, won't be bigoted, but it won't be politically correct either. So, I agree, John. Have a light heart, but there's nothing wrong with loving your country, right? And especially all those libtards and NDP tards out there that weighed in about utopia and the price to pay for being civilized. Well, sorry, I've seen the result of uncivilized societies. I don't want it here, right? And one of the reasons with some of those uncivilized societies went apeshit is because their inflation went through the roof, right? They didn't have any money, right? Because governments at that time figured, okay, we'll just take more and more and more and make it worthless. So, well, government has taken no responsibility to govern. They've dictated. So there you go. Oh, thank you, Kip. Right on. Cheers, $5, Kip. Thank you very much. Cheers, buddy. Outstanding. Thank you. Kip says, I've had people, close friends, say it feels like the October crisis is over again. Interesting you said that. Some are ready for violence. I say don't do anything stupid. Well, you're right. I personally feel that something is in the works, and I feel, actually, it was funny because I was talking to my wife about this today. What's going to be on the horizon? We don't know where or when. However, something doesn't look good. And another thing about the October crisis too, when I was watching CTV today, they were discussing the whole issue about how Le Bloc, Live Blanchette, wants an apology from the federal government based on what happened in the October crisis. Now, I basically say, fuck that, because from 1963 to 1970, how many bomb threats and how many bombs went off in certain key parts of Ontario and Quebec in the name of the FLQ? Right. So now you can talk there about human rights violations, right? But what's going on right now with this whole pandemic in regards to human rights violations? So, yeah. Well, all I can say to my gun owners out there and my friends alike, stand by. Now, I'm not going to promote any kind of violence here. I'm not going to promote any kind of stance, but I will say stand by. Well, not because YouTube is cutting down on certain items of dialect or context, but I just don't want to promote anything violent. So, will do. Thanks again, Kip, for that donation. Appreciate it. Right. Like I say, folks, don't be shy. Use the super stickers if you like here, or become a 1-leaf or a 2-leaf member. Just by joining my page. Directions are inside the column there. So, well, a lot of the liberal tards don't know the gun laws because they want to assume. They think something's big and scary, that it's going to be scary. Like, look at this automatic fire enhancer. Look, it's in 3D too. Is it scary? Where's Dr. Tongue when you need him? I swear I don't know what you're talking about there, Bruno. This is just a simple cigarette lighter. Yes. Right? It was all in panic. Basically a panic. Liberals have never been a friend to the Canadian gun owner, to the senior, to the veteran, to the soldier, and now to the police officers. Now, I'm not condemning any police officer out there, but we all know that the RCMP leadership has gone a little fucking screwy, and we got to find a viable solution. Because I personally know RCMP officers and OPP officers, and I've met some Sûreté de Quebec. I've met Edmonton officers, Calgary officers, you name it, and they're all good people. Really, they're all good people. It's just sometimes leadership sucks, and we got to sort that out. So. Well, that's the thing, because, we're not used to, excuse me, oh, gassy. We're not used to seeing a lot of good things there, but the gun is as harmless as the shooter, That's the thing. Doesn't matter if you have a 22, right? Wear it proudly, Colin. Exactly. Wear it proudly. I even like those cups that talk about female tears, right? So... Well, that's the thing. It's part of your livelihood. Same thing as a hockey player who goes out and skates, or anyone who enjoys a sport or lifestyle. Let people do their business. Let people go about their way, right? Just because, if you go to a range once a month or once a week, that doesn't mean you're a killer. It means you're a sportsman or a sports person or a sports lady, sportswoman, whatever, Well, and if you get in shit wearing that shirt, Colin, just tell your employers and grow some cojones. Yeah. What season is Ontario now? Is it deer season, right? When's moose start up? Is moose coming soon? Deer control. Okay. Do you have to still get tags in Ontario for that? Or you just get permission to go out and take one or two? I forget the format in Ontario. Well, I can tell the cop to grow some balls. Just don't touch them. Okay. Yeah, I know. It's the same thing out here too. Yeah. Good to see you, Beasley Endeavor. Thanks for coming on. Don't be shy, folks. Feel free to ask me anything you like. Check out my merchandise. Check out membership, joining, and all that stuff. Like I said, there are perks to joining. So I'm not going to sit and ask you for coin and not give you any kind of incentive or any kind of prize for that matter. So by all means, click the join icon on my page and just follow the prompts from there. Well, like any liberal government, Quebec has always demanded things, and the Liberals have caved in. I have nothing against Quebecers. I've worked with many Quebecers in the military, right? I just don't like Le Bloc because what are you really harping about that is so terrible? What is so terrible about parts of Canada not speaking French? Because every time I've been through Quebec, I have done my best to speak French, always. And that's just out of courtesy. That's not out of kissing anyone's ass. That's just trying to be courteous, trying to be friendly, trying to be, you know, when in Rome, right? So the thing is, the liberal brand, it's promoting safety. You have the CERB and you have the CEBA, okay? Now, I'm not disenfranchising anybody who has needed it because, yeah, it was quite a kick in the junk that a lot of us received over this issue. And some people really needed that help. And I'm all for that, helping people out. But what I'm not for is the invisible tax that's going to come and grab you next fiscal year. So it grabbed me and my wife for other things too. My parents are in their 70s and they got dinged royally because they played by the rules. They did, right? So, well, see, that's the thing too, Kip. I hate the separation ideologue because they actually have government offices that try to ensure and inspect language. Really? That's no different than hiring people of the die ideology, right? Well, there's government money going to people that are worrying about how many businesses have enough French compared to English or English to French. Like, really? You need a degree in that? That's an actual government job? That's pitiful, right? And a lot of people say, well, the social programs are great. Well, yeah, they're great, but they come from the Quebec taxpayer, and not to mention the billions they get in transfer payments too. So, well, they can't separate because, let's say hypothetically, if they called in another Meech Lake, another referendum, okay, sure, they have bodies of water they could patrol and govern, what have you, but there's quite a bit of land claims that date back well before the Commonwealth and well before the English and the French were fighting their wars. So, from Quebec being this big would go to be about that big, right? So, well, Blanchet is a reasonable man, but he's also doing what the party's told, right? So, I just, you know, but he was also the first one to, once elected, to willingly want to shut down anything from Alberta except for cash. So what's that tell you, right? So, but if you can't sell the oil, can't sell the resource, can't sell to foreign markets to make extra money, then what are the transfer payments for then, right? I think every party should follow the rules on the Election Act. Every party, regardless of where you're from. Yeah, I agree. Well, that's the thing too, and they got a hell of a lot of seats, right? And I know there's a lot of Quebec conservatives, a lot of Quebec liberals, NDPers, and other independents that would love to have a seat too, right? Right on, Tommy. Carry on. Well, see, that's the thing. You know, regardless of prior to transfer payments, the manufacturing hub in Ontario and Quebec were foot in the bill back in the 1950s and early part of the 60s. And then the oil boom was happening, right? And it carried on. And then, of course, you had Pierre Elliott Trudeau come in 1980, 81, and all of a sudden, you know, regulated it, which screwed a lot of Albertans over, right? And it's not right. It's not right. Why can't we have businesses in this country to make things, produce things, to get things out in the open, just like the manufacturing hub did at one time? Okay, but we can't have that now because, oh, oil's bad, oil's dirty, but putting raw poop and everything else in the waterways is just fine. I don't. A contradiction galore, right? Canadian taxpayers on the hook for buying this pipeline, and yet it's still not being built. Why? Tides Foundation, or what they call the Make Way Foundation right now, like just yes, there is kept quite a bit. Of course, Manitoba and Saskatchewan, you've got a lot of the Métis, right? Even parts of Alberta too, a lot of the Métis, French speaking, right? So French speaking culture is all over Canada when you think of it. It's not just Quebec or parts of New Brunswick or parts of Ontario. It's all over Canada, you know? So it just as much as part of our history as the English-speaking Canadians or Dutch-speaking Canadians or German-speaking Canadians or Polish Canadians, Ukrainian Canadians that came and conquered the Western prairies too, you know, with their skill and ambition. So Canada is a very, very diverse mix. Always has been. Well, it gets me about Gates Foundation too, because they're promoting the anti-oil, and yet, you know, they got the silicone, but what's other components? What are they based on too? What other plastic components are based on petroleum? Quite a few. To everything you wear outside, to things you wear in your feet, to what keeps your fridge cold, to what keeps your microwaves going. A lot of plastics are based in there. If it wasn't for the petroleum industry, you would not have such plastics, right? So, you know, we got to find a way, find a viable solution to help. But in the same sense, let's use some common sense. We have these resources, let's use them. Get the ball rolling. Then I've had people say, oh my goodness, you don't understand regulations. That's the problem. Too many damn regulations, right? Well, that's the thing, Beasley. I don't want to live back in the Stone Age. I'm sure I could do very well in the bush, but I don't think my wife wants to. No. Well, even, yeah, exactly. Simple pens, right? Plastic based, right? Where does this come from? Pixie dust, fairy farts, unicorn piss. No, we know where it comes from, right? So there you go, John, exactly. Tool and die. So you know the foundations precisely. Yeah. Well, you need tool and die. You need things to drill. You need things to extract, right? I'm sure everyone here has seen what a lithium mine looks like, right? I think that's more environmentally unsound than having a pipeline or a drilling rig, for that matter, because you got one hell of a giant hole that you cannot fill in when it comes to that kind of mine. And when you deplete the resources in said mine, you've got a giant fucking hole that's there. And the only thing that's going to fill it in is either a giant rock or centuries of erosion. And I know for a fact that Canada's standards are probably the most cleanest standards on the globe. So to those anti-oil whack knobs out there saying it's dirty, it's filthy, you think about that every time you hop on your bus or your subway or your Uber, right, or your scooter, right? Every time you turn on your cell phone, put on your sneakers, right? Have your chicken tandoori in a plastic container, you think about that. Right? Yeah, Colin, I agree with you. And you can verify how clean production is. You know, during the workday, I know it's filthy. Yeah, I know it's filthy. But you've also seen the cleanup effect too. I've seen it too, you know? Right? I'm not saying go back to the days where people were using lead gasoline. There are ways to fix that, okay? But there are ways we can keep things clean. It's not going to be perfect. Every time you breathe or exhale, you're carbon. Ooh. But when we taught in grade 10 science that carbon is good for plants, Nuclear, yeah. I would say geothermal too. There are ways we can tap that energy where nobody has to worry about their hydro bill all the time. There are ways you can create your own energy where you can share it with your neighbors. The only problem with that is that municipal, provincial, and federal governments alike like to get their hands in it, right? Because they want their cut, especially when they have nothing to do with it. Yeah, you know, that would be hilarious. I might use that for a skit there, Colin. That would be hilarious. I've got lots of wigs I can use and look like some kind of SJW with sandals and have my tofu cookies and go to get fuel for my little, you know, Yarith, whatever. And go, oh my goodness, they won't give me any gas. It asked me a question, it locked the pumps. Yeah, I could do that. That's excellent. I like that. Thank you, Colin. Yes, I might use that. That'd be great. I'll get a unitard or something to look artsy or look metrosexual. No. No. Well, I had one clown on one of my pages tell me the pros and cons of all the fuel production that goes on in Scandinavia. Right. And I reminded him too that in the so-called democratic socialist concept, your taxes are up about 25% compared to what we're doing now. So based on our dollar, based how everything goes, and they say, well, it's free education, and it's free this, it's free that. It's not free. It's coming out of the person's taxes, okay? And they also forget too that some of these countries still have old monarchies that go way back prior to the Vikings that have accumulated a fortune and a fortune and a fortune over the centuries, over certain taxes and wheels and deals and slaps and tickles. We all know the rhetoric, okay? And what gets me is that when you vote in a socialist system, you are stuck in said system. And I've had people weigh in on my profile saying, well, Venezuela is not socialist. Then why are people going through dumpsters? Right? Why are people going through dumpsters in a non-socialist country? So that's what gets me. Burn wood. Yeah, burn wood. But see, when you watch the movie Planet of Humans, and I highly recommend, ladies and gentlemen, look at the movie Planet of Humans. Yes, I know it's produced by Michael Moore, but watch that and the alternatives to fossil fuel. Okay? And you'll see exactly what Beasley, yeah, I think you nailed it. Burn more wood. So, well, that's the thing, Colin, trucking it. And yet we should be trucking it and using pipelines. And yeah, okay, let's keep using the railways too. Let's sell more to the States. Let's sell some to Eastern Asia. Let's sell to the Australians. Let's sell to Europe. Open up the market. Open up the market, period. Right? It's that simple. Yeah. Open up the market. Yes, keep the market open. Exactly, Kip. We need to build. Yes, the government's bought all these parts and bought the pipeline, but what kind of return is coming from it if you're not using it? Right? That's the thing. And they are not using it. They make excuses up for it. Quebec doesn't want it, yet Quebec loves the transfer payments. So you don't want oil, but you love the transfer payments. Right? So what if they put subsidies on Quebec hydroelectricity like they do in our oil? What would happen then? Would New York State still be buying hydroelectricity from Quebec? Or would they go elsewhere? Would they go to Southern Ontario and tap into the Pickering plant? All right. So, well, see, that's the thing. If we managed our forests, great. But every time you burn something, you put carbon in the atmosphere. It doesn't matter what it is. And you could do that same thing with hemp. Takes less time to grow. Takes up, I'd rather see 50 acres of hemp than 50 acres of fucking solar panels. Right? make bricks, clothing, fuel, food. Hemp hearts is probably the highest proteins you can take. It doesn't matter if you're vegan or if you like your red meat or not. Hemp hearts is excellent protein for you, right? So like I said, food, clothing, fuel, building materials, 4 things you can do from 1 acre of hemp, right? You can still manage the forest and clean up certain brushes and stuff so there isn't mass fire upon fire, but the same thing, you're saving the trees for a rainy day. Kind of like what our government should be doing with our money, save for a rainy day, which they never did. So. Like I say, folks, don't be shy. Use the super stickers if you want to donate. If so, if not, that's fine too. Or you can just join my page, the Crusty Canuck page. Join. You can join, become Leaf 1 or 1 Leaf for $1.99 a month, or $4.99 a month to become a 2 Leafer. And if half of my subscribers would consider that, I'd be well on my way to producing and getting better content and better clarity. I actually might be able to hire somebody sometime to help me with engineering and all that good stuff. So please consider joining today. Don't forget to check out my shop. I got a sale on 20% off of all Crusty Canuck merchandise at the Customized Girl. I'll leave a link. Well, there's actually a link in my descriptions right there. Or go to my Facebook page, you'll find the link. So get yourself some Crusty Canuck t-shirts, hats. I have magnets, I have mugs. I've got underwear, I've got swimsuit for the ladies. So lots of goodies there. So check it out if you can. Oh, right, we are sitting on potential and gold mines, and there's ways we can produce it and get it out there without hurting the balance entirely. You know what I mean? I agree, Gary. We should be at the same caliber as Dubai and Qatar when it comes to our oil riches. And I've seen Dubai, and it's not a filthy country. Now, mind you, most of it is a lot of sand. But they've built some wonderful things. They've done some wonderful things based on what they're producing. And there's no excuse why we can't do the same, right? Because I know some riggers and I know some oil people that have some great ideas, especially when it comes to environmental friendliness. And they do it very well. And they present these ideas to their bosses, right? So all the Jane Fondas out there and all the people weighing in on bad fuel who fly around the globe first class, whatever, you know. Well, give it time, Colin. You should get in. Not a problem. Well, we are divided, but we have to be realistic too. I will sit at a table with a liberal, NDP, and conservative alike and discuss ideas. I will. But I won't tolerate any race bullshit. I won't tolerate any projected misogyny. I won't tolerate any projected fear for the sake of control. Because the last thing Canadian people need right now is more bloody controls. Gary Schill, you can do your part by trying to find the truth, right? If you recycle, if you plant a tree, there you go, right? It's like Jordan Peterson said, clean up your own room first, right? You know, there's nothing wrong with having feelings towards the environment. And you're right, Kip, there are tons of regulations. Unfortunately, we're not using enough materials to promote said regulations. Like I said, we're probably one of the cleanest providers of fossil fuels on the planet, right? We are. But things are going to get dirty. Things are going to break down. There might be a little spill here and there. But it's easier to contain an oil spill in a river than it is a truckload of raw shit, right? Because we know how oil floats, right? It's easy to contain that, clean it up, a couple years' time, river's back in order. You dump raw shit in the riverway, you kill everything. Done, right? Much of Canada seems happy to self-imprisonment. That's why I talk about the comfort thing. Comfort's not a right. You, the individual, you, the taxpayer, have to make yourself comfortable. It's not the government's place to do it. We know this, okay? I've had people come aboard me because, well, you get a pension. Yeah, I earned that pension. I did 20 years of service and I got hurt on the job. So I earned my pension. But I've also done work for other people. I am looking for work, right? Thankfully, I've had some donations from you people out there. Thank you very much that have helped me keep a bit up. So, oh, of course they would, Kip. Of course they would. They wouldn't pay attention to the actual how the narwhals and how some beluga whales migrate in parts of the St. Lawrence. But now that's being compromised because they want to dump raw shit in there. Yet having a pipeline from Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, parts of Ontario, channeling through parts of Quebec to New Brunswick, that's terrible. Like, it's a contradiction. It's a contradiction, right? No. Exactly. The government's not your baby daddy. And regardless of how much they butter up a nice piece of bread, put some brown stuff on there, let's call it shit, and add some lettuce and tomato, maybe a pickle if you like that, and a bit of mayonnaise. What have you got? You still got a shit sandwich. So it's that simple. I don't need a degree or diploma to prove that either. Just look at your paychecks every 2 weeks if you still have one, right? I think there's more of a sense of entitlement, John, in regards to that. I, for one, I firmly believe that $50,000 or more should be cut off an MP's pay. I said it. And if there's any MPs watching this right now, too effing bad. All right? Other people don't want to work. Well, in a way, I buy that. In some ways, I don't, because I personally know people who have relied on the CERB to get them out of trouble, and they're not looking forward to the next fiscal year. I'll tell you that right now, right? So it's a rock and a hard place for a lot of people. 20% minimum wage, yeah, yeah, that would work. $40 an hour. Impress me. See what you can do. Oh, you failed the policy, you failed the election, you're gone. Exactly, right? You know, I'm a firm believer in decent pay because we all know they all get the perks, transportation, meal credits, whatever have you. Every government job has its perks. But twice since 2016, they said yes to a pay raise, and then this March, yes to a pay raise when this pandemic was starting, right? When money was going out the wahoo. Right? They're against government spending, yet they don't mind taking a pay raise. So two pay raises, right? In a matter of 4 years. For what? Okay, for what? Did you cure diabetes? Did you cure cancer? Right? Have you secured the borders? Do you make sure that every working class Canadian is represented fairly and equally? No. So no more pay raises. Right? Let's say hypothetically, if I was elected into the VCP. Like, I represent the VCP proudly, but if I was elected, I would fight like hell to do a pay cut. I don't care how it would affect me. I don't really care. You know, I've done a hell of a lot more with a lot less. So, yeah, they did raise the carbon tax, but they call it the clean fuel tax, which is basically just another tax, right? So in Alberta, you've got the GST, carbon tax, clean fuel tax. In Ontario, you have the GST, carbon tax, clean fuel tax, HST, right? Tax. Oh, I like more of them taxes. Tax. Oh, I want more tax. Yeah. Speaks for itself, doesn't it? Oh, yeah, after Christmas, the clean fuel tax, yeah. That's the thing, Beasley. Too many governors. Too many coaches, not enough players. right? Too many lieutenants out there, not enough troops. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, of course. Well, it's also provincial too, because there's provincial tax that comes with the fuel, right? But it's just ridiculous, you know. Precisely, Kip. Not enough representation. Representing certain ideas and ideologues, right? But, well, party politics, I agree. It's good to have parties in our parliamentary system, but there's too many, well, like I said in my last episode, me, not enough do's, right? I'm happy to see the Conservatives actually banter back and forth in Parliament. I like seeing that because that's the way our system should work. That's the way we should get things done. But we're not getting solid, concrete answers. We're not getting the honesty we deserve. We're being spoken to like we're idiots. We are. We're being spoken to like we're morons, like we're idiots, like we don't know any better. Really? I do. Well, see, that's the thing. We both know, Kip, too, that Mr. Singh wanted to keep his job. And regardless of what the outcome of a projected election may be, there is that chance at 90% he would lose his seat and lose his job, right? And we all love a good $180,000 a year paycheck with perks, okay? So that's what it comes down to. As far as I'm concerned, they decided to save their asses, right? Their own asses, not their constituents, not their ridings, right? Their asses, their own personal asses, right? So, well, see, that's the thing with lefty ideology, because I remember when being left on something meant something, right? Now it's promoting a proletariat. We all heard that word before. We all took world history, what Lenin was doing, you know, what Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels were talking about, the proletariat, the big plan, the greater good. 20th century should have proven that, and it didn't. Why? Right? It just blows my mind. Yeah. That's infringing us? Well, every major city with the mask laws, every major city passing their half-assed legislation to shut businesses, the social distancing, you know, gun rights. You know, we were breaking way under the conservative government when it came to gun rights. And then the liberals passed the OIC out of fear, right? Who investigates the actual criminals? It's not the police anymore. It's the general public that wants action, right? So that's a start. They've already talked about what kind of meat we can eat. Look at all this protein-based bullshit, the plant-based bullshit they're promoting, right? When it's nothing but soy and glorified sawdust, right? But it's plant-based. Really? No. Yeah, okay. And there's cops I know personally that have told me that where they are in certain areas, they cannot react and get to a crime scene quick enough, right? In said time. And in 3 seconds time, if someone's breaking into your house, a lot can happen to you and your loved ones. So, and even with self-defense laws in this country, they are a joke. You're allowed to use force with force, but regardless of what the outcome is, you still have to go to court to defend yourself, regardless. So, You know? Right. So when someone says we're doing this for your protection, it's like, I never asked for your protection. Right? I can protect myself. Right? But if I'm, let's say, subdued, you know, or sequestered, then yeah, okay, I'll rely on a cop. And I respect police officers. I do. I say, yes, sir, no, sir, thank you, sir, or constable or corporal, whatever. And I show courtesy. They're people too. They got to work and make a living as well, you know. And just because there's a few cops out there that deem themselves to be assholes, that doesn't mean every one of them is an asshole, right? Beastly endeavor. I think you nailed it there too. Yeah. If you sit more an hour watching CPAC or the Parliamentary Channel, whoa. Yeah. Well, that's the thing, John. Yeah, after watching that footage of what's going on in Caledonia, and you can hear over the radio their dispatch being told to stand down. Meanwhile, there are two individuals smashing the police car, threatening them. It puts things in perspective. And like I say, I'm not questioning those police officers. I'm going to question the leadership. What leadership is going into that and stating this, right? So, and the police officers I know, if they happen to be watching this, you know what I mean, guys. We've talked about this before, right? But very good friend of mine is a police officer, and he gives me information once in a while. I'm not going to mention his name, but you know, he gives me some pretty good insight on things. It usually comes from higher. So, yeah. It was the same thing when they had the lockdowns in February, too, with all the railheads. Stand down, stand down. Really? Well, like I said in my last episode, I believe in looking at treaty rights for what they are and respecting them. But the moment you start tearing up roads, smashing buildings, threatening people's lives, as far as I'm concerned, all bets are off. Now you're screwing with people's liberty. Okay? That's okay. That's it, you know. Beastly endeavor. Violent chimpanzee documentary. You'll see similarity between us and them. Okay, sure. I prefer the cheeky one I post on my Facebook where the orangutan cops a field to the Asian lady. So, but no, I'll consider it for sure. Any more questions, folks? By all means, don't be shy. Feel free to contribute. Click on the super sticker there too if you want to donate right now, or consider joining my page for $1.99 a month. You'll get an appraise, an applause, and all natural content from yours truly. So, I know the charter does, Kip, but the question is, do our overseers do? I think they do. They just don't fucking care. No. Well, I don't believe any one race in this country is superior nor inferior to the next. I never have. Right? I'll open my door to anybody that needs help. I will give anyone a hand who needs help. By all means. You know, I have Native friends in my circle that are down to earth, good people. They have a history. They're proud of it. And they don't point fingers at me because of the color of my skin. Right? I don't point fingers at them either. It's just a matter of where you're raised and what you're taught as a kid. And it doesn't matter what color you are. You're taught that kind of hatred from being brought up with it. Right? So, you know, if we're constantly hearing like Canadian is a Canadian is a Canadian, then fine. Get rid of the race baiting BS. Get rid of the misogyny BS. Get rid of the racial profiling BS. Get rid of the die model. Get rid of this diversity dilemma and start treating people like people. I've worked with many people, all shapes and sizes, all colors and creeds, right? And I never attacked anybody because of their color. I would attack their character because sometimes they've done some stupid things, right? Common sense. Yes, I agree to that too. And some treaties I will look at for sure. if elected, by all means. My biggest concern is the clean water for everybody. Water is a right. Water is a right. I don't care what any corporate monster says, right? Water is part of our genetic makeup. It is a right. It's in our air. Really. So it's a right. Yes, it is a human right. I don't care what reservation, I don't care what city, I don't care what town, I don't care what community. Everyone should have a clean glass of water, right? Turn on your faucet, water. Water to cook with, water to bathe in, water to enjoy, to drink, to make whatever. And no more excuses as far as I'm concerned when it comes to reservations with bad water, right? That's not just a federal government thing too, that's also a reservation thing too, right? So no, you're right. It shouldn't come from the government. It shouldn't. It shouldn't. But it should come from the people that are looking after water plants and treatment and where the water resources are coming from, right? If I'm going to pay $70 a month to keep my taps on, that water better be clean. If not, okay, I'll find other means to get my own water. I can do that, right? Overseas, I did most of my hygiene from a cup about this big when I shaved and cleaned myself. Not that I want to do that, but I can do it. Well, every community is responsible for its water. That's just, that's like a basic cooperative when you think of it, right? Like it shouldn't be a dilemma. It shouldn't be an issue. It should have been looked after a long time ago. Really. How else do you explain it? Right? That community should have been responsible for it. Right? And that municipality should have looked into it too. Because really, that's who you pay when it comes to getting your water done, is your municipality. Who's in charge? Who is the reeve? Who is the mayor? What happened? What's going on? Right? Where's the money for this? Where's the money for that? You were paid this much 20 years ago. What happened to it? Oh, so someone's been skimming. Someone's fucked up. Right? But there's no excuse for why there isn't. Well, I'm all for everyone looking after themselves. That's the thing, too. And I like to say I'm for liberty. I'm for freedom, democratic choices. I also believe in, not breaking the law and taking people's stuff and smashing them over the head. And I don't believe in forced compliance. But if you're going to have a community, we have to look at who is responsible for said things in said community. And if they're not stepping up to the plate, then it's up to that community to do something about it, right? And get rid of the race ideology, get rid of the name calling. Let's start being adults and working together on this, right? Common law as in relationships. Right. Oh, I agree, Kip. It doesn't matter what reservation, whatever, Common sense. Yeah, exactly. Common sense. Something's broken, you fix it. Oh, okay. Well, it's not my responsibility. It's like, well, this tap is in your house. Yeah, it's your responsibility. Unless you're renting, then it's the landlord's responsibility. So it's personal accountability, right? As in court proceeding, well, that's like two sides of a different coin, the way I look at it. Right? They said, I believe in this. Don't hit people, take their stuff. Do your best to be honest, don't blow someone away because you disagree with them or they disagree with you. Don't try to dox people or try to get people fired because they have a different opinion on something, like that whole lefty mentality. So when I look at common law relationships, I look at it who put whatever effort in. I've seen enough breakups over the years. It becomes a real shit show, really. Like, just wow. Well, yeah, don't trespass. Respect people's property. You know, if you end up getting caught trespassing, let's hope you have a viable excuse. You're lost. Okay, that happens, right? But what I'm saying is that don't walk around with a baseball bat and smashing people's stuff because you disagree with them or they disagree with you. And I wish a lot of our justices would see it that way too, right? But a lot of them don't. So, Brandy, good to see you. Right. Like I say, folks, if you feel like joining the Crusty Canuck page, feel free. Just click on the join icon on my page. For $1.99, you get my live streams and you get my appraise every time you donate. So, hey, for like $2, you're getting a round of applause and my appreciation for your contribution. Really. What do you give a busker to a kid in the street playing guitar? Right? What do you give to, a guy asking for change? Is he going to dance for you? No. So that's the thing. Yes, I do, John, because there's no new normal. I'm not buying the new normal. I'm not buying it at all, right? Yes, I shaved. I got rid of the beard, folks. I got tired of the beard because I kept doing this all the time. Well, it's the same when you play with yourself. You go blind. Yeah, so. If any politician makes a decision that's going to harm and rip people off and ends up biting them in the ass later on, yeah, of course I believe that's accountable. Now, I've had to make decisions in the military that I didn't like doing. And some decisions I made, and I ended up paying a price for it. It's part of being a leader. It's part of being an adult, right? So, yeah, the old normal was better. Let common sense govern us, shall we? Yeah. So. Chadlings Gaming. Yes, I am Canadian. Et vous? I agree, Kip. No new normal. To sit there on national television, this is the new normal. No, it's not. We're not going to have anything to do with it. So, bonjour, Chadlings. Ça va? Mon français un peu. Et vous, anglais? Yes, I agree, Brandy. Yes, self-accountability. You miss a mortgage payment, one, you've either lost a job or you can't make the ends meet and you're trying to make do with what you got. You're accountable for that, right? Why isn't our federal government accountable for things they've missed? 20,000 infrastructure jobs, $5 billion gone missing, no accountability. Hey, what's that? Hey, Sue, how you doing? Chadlings Gaming, with your permission, may I repeat what you just said with a French accent, of course? Parfait. Fucking et Quebec and Trudeau. Yeah, I'm bilingual. Ha ha. C'est magnifique. Parfait, mon ami. Well, thank you, John. It's good to see that you're honorable too. It's good to see that all my subscribers are honorable. They speak their minds, and I encourage it, ladies and gentlemen. Please comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, right? Yes, and you know what gets me when they talk about Harper there, Kip, was the fact that, yeah, he was kind of slimy and deviant too, but during the recession, I think he handled things very well. And those companies that he bailed out under his watch, he got paid back. So what's that tell you? The companies they have now that were bailed out, Loblaws, well, they weren't bailed out, they were just given a handout, SNC, Bombardier. How much is being paid back as we speak? Not too fucking much, right? Oh, okay. So basically, Chad Links, you're very English, yes? So you obviously speak Parisian French then. No? Or Québécois, huh? Les habitants. It doesn't matter, Chad Links, you're welcome here. I could care less if you speak French or Swahili or English, Cantonese. I don't care. I welcome everyone to my page. Yeah. See, that's the thing. Billions of dollars gone. Gone. No payback, no incentive, just slaps and tickles left and right, right? Well, if that was the logic, I believe CERB and CBIS should not be paid back, right? If that's the logic that the federal government is going to promote, really, it's like you're going to bail out this company. Well, okay, bail out your people too. That's fair, isn't it? Right? That's fair. Oh. Yes, I am a gun owner, an enthusiast, and a gun rights advocate, Chad Links. Right on. Nice 12G. Ooh. Beautiful. What's the load in that? For the shell rise? Is it for bird shot or what? You hunting for geese or what are you doing, bud? Beastly endeavor. I like how you're using the chimpanzee analogy. I do. That's excellent. Keep it up. Yep. Yep. Well, when I look at the CERB and the CEBA, it's taxed. From what I understand, you're going to be taxed on it. So whether you got 2 or 3 months or 4 or 5 months of it or 8 months of it, okay, so 8 months of it, there's 10 grand, you're going to be taxed on it. So next fiscal year, there'll be a little surprise in the mail for individuals that have relied on it. And that's what really annoys me the most because shit, right? I've talked about taxes before. My parents, they played by the rules. They looked after themselves. They didn't cheat, breaking laws, and to the tune of 18 plus thou is what they're owing. And they're in their 70s. So really, you know what I mean? So geese and ducks. Well, Chad Links, that's excellent. I've never been a big goose fan. I goose one Christmas. I just didn't like it. Duck, kind of greasy for me, but hey, knock yourself out, man, by all means. I like to go moose hunting, but I missed the tag opportunity. Oops. So, yes, I'm in Alberta, Chad Links. I'm actually born and raised in Ontario, but I live in Alberta. So, oh, Sue, there'd be interest. There'd probably some hidden agenda, some fine print, because you know how the CRA operates, right? You can take your taxes to an accountant. He or she will tell you, okay, you owe this much. You don't owe this much. You'll get this much back. You file it 3 to 4 weeks later, blue piece of paper in the mail from CRA. We've reassessed you. You owe additional blah, blah, blah. So when I see that from the CRA, it kind of annoys me because why did I spend $100 talking to an accountant or getting it done from whatever software you can buy now to make it easier for you? Okay. And then they try and reassess you. So it's a con. So when it comes to CERB and CEBA, we know people are going to get taxed on it. Really? We all know there's no such thing as free money unless you rob it from people, you know? Robert, good to see you. I've had goose jerky. Yeah, I don't mind it. I really don't like the taste. You know, like if I was hungry, yeah, I'd eat it. I've had bear jerky. I've had moose jerky. It's excellent. Right? I've had elk jerky too. Elk meat is phenomenal. So, well, see, that's the thing, John. What's the sense you get your taxes done by order of the government when they're going to do it for you anyway? They're going to find out what you owe them or make up what you owe them just to make their lives easier. You know, so It's a con. You know, we're not fighting the Germans in the trenches anymore, and we're not fighting the Nazis in World War II. So why are we still paying income tax? All right. For revenue, that's a good question, Sue. Who knows what kind of excuse they'll come up with? There's always going to be a handful of people that can't add and subtract properly. So, oh, of course they do. Of course they do. That's the taxation scheme. Let's make something up. Let's trump up a charge of some sort, right? Well, Beastly, I believe we can help ourselves. I believe we can do it, right? I had some issues about 6 years ago that I didn't think I'd get out of, and I'm here today. So. Well, that's the thing, Brandy, too. When there's a financial crisis, exactly, cut back the spending. I buy groceries. I'm guilty of buying tobacco, but I barely drink like I used to. Okay, I'm a little leaner. I train a bit, back into common sense, and I try to keep it real. Buy gas, buy tobacco, buy groceries, make sure my bills are paid, and whatever's left over, okay, I can enjoy. So that's the thing. Well, human capital, also what they can get out and not take responsibility for their spending, right? When I look at individuals that talk about blaming the rich for all these things, I would say there are rich people, yes, that have caused a lot of trouble. But I personally know some very, very well-to-do individuals that did it because they worked and they sacrificed time and effort. And they follow the tax rules. They pay their share of taxes, trust me. Okay. And they've given to certain charities and they've given to help people out. They've showed community response and resilience. And some way and somewhere down the road, boom, they get nailed again for taxes. So I don't buy this whole thing. Oh, we have to tax the rich, tax the rich. No, to me, that's just a deflection, right? I'd like to see $50,000 taken off MP's pay, right? Well, you can say JT's family. You can say Laurentian elite. You could say a lot of people from that time that lived in that part of Ontario and Quebec, respectively. You can blame the British monarchy, the lordships, sure. Rockefellers, Rothschilds alike, yeah. But my concern right now is what's going on with Canada and what's going on with our people, us as a nation, right? Let's not worry about what's going on in the world, okay? Let the Americans worry about the problems. Let the Brits worry about the problems. Let Canada start looking after Canada again, right? Let Canada start looking after us. Let's look after each other the best of our abilities. Right? Let's sit at the tables, have the proper discussions. For lack of a better term, let's break the bread and talk. Be realistic. Be down to earth. Right? But the moment someone points a finger at you and starts talking about race or misogyny, to me, all bets are off. I don't buy that 1 second. Right? I'm going to give another 10 minutes, folks, so get your questions in. If you feel like donating, please donate. Super stickers are up. Or if you just want to join for $1.99 a month, Leaf 1 or go to 2 Leaf, you can get a free T-shirt that I will draw at the end of the month. So $4.99 will get you a praise and honorable mention, as well as a chance to win a T-shirt from my Teespring line and my Crusty or Customized Girl line too. So. Well, that's the thing with JT, because he was raised with a silver spoon in his mouth. So was his old man. And a lot of Canadians forget that it was Pierre Trudeau's father that made a fortune with gasoline. Go figure. Okay? So. I would like to see Alberta make a fortune again with gasoline. I'd like to see BC flourish in the forest industry and the fisheries. I would love to see the east coast of Canada, First Nations and other Canadians alike, get along when it comes to fishing. I would like to see the Great Lakes be able to be fished again too. You know, I would like to see that happen. Proper environmental regulations to promote longevity rather than stagnates and just watching things turn green, right? Too much traffic. Oh, great. Yeah. Well, where you are in Windsor, I can see that. But in other parts of the Great Lakes, i.e. like parts of Lake Huron, Georgian Bay, well, I'm not going to blame the voters for said position, but I will engage a lot of these voters who think of this utopian kumbaya and who think about, the price for being in a civilized society. And well, yeah, I don't mind paying taxes. Oh my God, Kip, thank you again, buddy. Wow. Thank you again, Kip. Cheers, buddy. Thank you very much. Well, the thing is, Kip, keep your chin up, keep your sanity up, keep your intellect. I love our conversations, and you're welcome here anytime, buddy. So, oh, shipping vessels. Yeah, I know cement. A lot of cement and salt goes through Great Lakes. That's fine. But yeah, thanks, Kiprief there, ladies and gentlemen, for another $5 donation. Thank you. Having a hard time with this lockdowns and restrictions. It's getting interesting. You have yourself a good night. Well, I will do too. But, we have to be diligent. Keep our chins up. Let's look back at all of our heritages. We all are descendants from Europeans one way or the other. Chin up, carry on. I'm not saying suck everything up as it comes, but stand our grounds firmly and realistically. Yeah, my uncle used to work for the Great Lakes. He would dump cement for the ships that would come in Owen Sound Harbor. So yeah, so cement, salt. I think corn was going at one time too. My cousin's ex-husband used to work. He was an oiler, for the Great Lakes boats. He just would say, "Oh, we ship everything, man." So yeah, poppy's on. I keep my poppies going. Yeah, that's right, Beasley. Or a lot of iron ores, whatever, metals, whatever. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Well, I'm assuming through the St. Lawrence, on way to St. Lawrence, up through Windsor, up through Lake Erie, from Erie to Ontario, from Ontario to the St. Lawrence Seaway. Yeah, I've actually seen the route. It's quite interesting how they get around, but my concern is that we can clean up those zebra mussels too. They can be cleaned up, so, right. Anyhow, get another few minutes, folks, and I'll be shutting this down. So get your questions in whenever you can. Like I say, if you feel like donating, please do. Use the super sticker to the best of your advantage, right? If not, please consider joining the page. For $1.99 a month, you get to see my silly mug 2 times a week or 2 times a month, whatever. And, I'll give you praise as a morning. So anyway, take care, Kip. All the best, buds. CDC is suspending the tracking of the flu. Oh, no, I did not see that. I heard something about that, though, right? Because all of a sudden the flu has just disappeared. Oh, so. Well, Sue, if you want to talk to me about a tattoo issue, please use my email if you can. We can negotiate. Let's see here. Give me a tattoo for adoptive vet for a donation. Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, that's the thing, because everybody's so worried about this tracker, and I just find it as a violation of privacy. This app they keep talking about, they keep promoting it, right? I don't buy it. So yeah, I find it really interesting there. Thank you, Brandy, for bringing that to our attention too. Yes. Yeah. It's funny because I haven't had a flu shot in 10 years, and I'm good to go. You know, knock on wood. So, oh, another 3 minutes, folks. Oh, yeah, recent post. Yeah, I will be doing an episode tomorrow. So, folks, around 3 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Keep an eye out on the Crusty Canuck page via Facebook and YouTube. I'll be doing that episode on Christopher Freeland's bold and ridiculous statements in regards to spending more money. And, of course, Dr. Tam's immaculate logic when it comes to health in this country. Yeah, so pay attention to that if you can, folks. So, yeah, I use that as a predecessor for my episode coming up. So, well, Beastly Endeavor, keep the vitamin C up, vitamin D, and zinc. You know, and this time of year, yeah, keep the water going. You know, leaner cuts of meat, some good vegetables. You'll be good to go, man. You know? Input in my podcast about Dr. Tam. What you're saying, Colin? Yes, I always do. Oh, Trudy and Freeland, yeah. Well, it's as much as I get tired of talking about them, just when you think that things are calm, they always come up with something stupid to promote, right? So, is your daughter sick, Beastly? Well, that's good, Colin. I'm glad you liked the show, by all means. And please share it around. You know, share it all around. You know? Okay. Well, the thing is, like I say, do what you can. Wash your hands. Keep yourselves clean. Keep your wits about you. Common sense, folks. That's all it is, you know. Great, John. Thanks. I appreciate that. So, yeah, send me an email in regards to that if you can. And Aaron, thanks again for coming out, man. You're always welcome here. So, well, I agree, Beastly. We need to get certain viruses to strengthen our immune system. It's the same thing as having a broken heart. You know, if you can't handle a loss, how can you appreciate a win? If you can't understand a broken heart, how can you learn to love? That's my hippie moment of the night. But yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying. So, okay, folks, it's been 2 hours so far. I have had a great conversation. And once again, thanks to people like yourselves and my other subscribers for coming out this evening. Thank you very much. It's because of viewers like you, I have gone up in the past 2 weeks to an additional 300 subscribers. So well done on you, and thank you very much for tuning into the Crusty Canuck podcast. Like I say, I'll have an episode up and running tomorrow, 3 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, parts thereof, and to my Eastern listeners, 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So tune in for that if you can. Oh, wow, dog meat. Thank you. Good to see you. Anyway, take care, Beastly. All the best to you. Thank you very much, dog meat. Appreciate that. You know. Well, I'm glad you like Colin, and I'll keep doing what I do, and you just keep subscribing and sharing a like. You know, I'll do what I can. Just try to be honest and realistic with all my patrons out there and all my listeners and viewers. So, anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, I have been Crusty Canuck on this beautiful 29th of October, 2020. Thank you again for joining me on this live stream and giving me your thoughts and asking me the good questions. And let's keep these people accountable and all that other good stuff. So we got to keep our chins up, do what we can, you know, and fight the good fight. Will do. Thank you, everyone who's come out. Thank you, Sue. Yes, I will keep safe. You do too, Sunshine. Beastly Endeavor, take care. Brandy, yes. Colin, yes. All the best to everybody. Once again, thank you for all my subscribers out there. It's because of viewers like yourself that keeps me going, keeping things real, keeping things honest. It's the way it should be. So take care, folks. All the best. And keep a attention to my community page for updates and all that good stuff. And please consider buying some swagger. It's good Crusty Canuck swagger. Anyway, links will be in the description. Take care, everybody. Happy Halloween. Don't eat too much candy, and go give yourself a scare or two. All right. Take care, everyone, and have a wonderful night. Thank you.